Welcome back, everyone, to another story. Before the story starts, I want to quickly announce that we have started a Patreon page. If you want access to more stories, polls, and chats with me, check out the pinned comment for more information. Now, please enjoy the story. After spending my entire morning studying and doing housework, I was looking forward to a lazy Saturday afternoon playing video games. Unfortunately for me, though, my plans were quickly interrupted just after I had sat down. "Evan!" shouted my sister Lily from another room. "I need your help. Now!" I groaned, pausing my game before it had even begun. "What is it?" I called back, already frustrated by her interruption. "Just come here," she shouted again, her voice carrying an urgency that made me roll my eyes. Reluctantly, I set the controller down, letting out a long sigh. As I made my way toward her workspace, I thought about what she wanted from me this time. Lily spent a lot of her free time creating new pieces of clothing for herself and others, so I figured she probably just wanted some feedback on something she had made. When I eventually got to Lily's room, I saw her hard at work on what looked like a dress. I could tell she'd been working on it for a while by looking at how messy her room was. There were spools of thread spilling out of drawers, fabric draped over chairs, and half-finished sketches pinned haphazardly on the walls. After stepping into the room, Lily quickly turned away from her work to face me. "Finally! I've been waiting for you to come in here." I raised an eyebrow. "You've been yelling at me for 5 minutes? What do you want?" Lily didn't answer right away. Instead, she turned to the dress she'd been working on and held it up in front of me. "Okay, hear me out," she began, glancing at me like she already knew what I was going to say. "This dress is my masterpiece, and I need to see how it looks on an actual person. All my friends bailed, and you're my last hope." I groaned. "Are you serious? I'm not putting that on." "Oh, come on, I just need you to wear it for a few minutes. No one else will see, I promise. Please, Evan? For me?" "You've got to be kidding me," I said, crossing my arms tightly over my chest. Lily rolled her eyes dramatically and let out an exaggerated groan. "Come on, Evan. It's for my final school project. I need to see how it looks on a real person. And my friends bailed. Besides, no one will know you did it." I eyed the dress skeptically. It looked nice, but the idea of wearing it felt completely absurd. "Why can't you use one of those dress forms you have lying around?" "Because it's not the same," she argued, stepping closer. "I need to see how it moves and how it fits on a real body. Please, Evan. Just a few minutes. I'm desperate." Her eyes widened, taking on that pleading look she knew I couldn't resist. I sighed heavily, running a hand through my hair. "Fine, but if anyone finds out about this, I'm never speaking to you again." "Deal!" Lily chirped, practically shoving the dress into my hands. "Go change into it in the bathroom. I'll wait here." Grumbling under my breath, I trudged to the bathroom. I held up the dress as I walked, inspecting it closely. "This is ridiculous," I muttered under my breath. After getting to the bathroom, I quickly stepped out of my jeans and t-shirt. Once undressed, I grabbed the dress and started putting it on. It slid on effortlessly, the fabric cool against my skin. I fumbled with the zipper at the back, eventually managing to tug it all the way up. Once I had the dress on, I turned to the mirror to check my reflection. The dress seemed to fit perfectly, almost as if it had been tailored just for me. Before I could fully process the sight, I felt a strange sensation begin to spread throughout my body. "Lily?" I called, my voice trembling as the sensation intensified, radiating through my body. "Something's happening." The words barely left my lips before I felt the almost electric sensation coursing through every inch of me. It started in my chest, like a ripple spreading outwards. My broad shoulders began to narrow, the fabric of the dress adjusting seamlessly as if it anticipated the changes. I watched in a stunned silence as my arms slimmed and muscle tone softened. My hands, once rough and masculine, became slender and smooth, the fingers tapering elegantly. The sensation moved down my torso, with my waist pulling inwards to create a curve that felt alien yet natural at the same time. My chest swelled, filling out the dress in a way that made my heart race. I raised my hands instinctively, the unfamiliar weight and shape making the reality of what was happening impossible to ignore. The tingling traveled to my legs, which slimmed and lengthened, the proportions adjusting with an almost surreal precision. Even my feet shrank slightly, the shoes I had kicked off earlier suddenly seeming comically large in the corner of the bathroom. My hair then began to grow, each strand lengthening until it cascaded past my shoulders in soft waves that shimmered under the bathroom light. The sensation reached my face last. I stared helplessly as my reflection morphed, my jawline softened, my cheekbones became more pronounced, and my lips plumped into a delicate bow. My eyes seemed larger, framed by naturally long lashes that added an elegant quality to my expression. By the time the transformation stopped, I could hardly breathe. The person staring back at me in the mirror was unrecognizable. Delicate, feminine, undeniably beautiful. I reached up to touch my face, the smoothness of my skin and the unfamiliar contours confirming what the mirror showed me. This wasn't just a visual trick, this was real. Panic gripped me as I stumbled out of the bathroom. Lily, what the hell is going on? Lily quickly came out of her room, her eyes widening in shock after seeing me. Oh my God, she whispered, rushing over. Evan, what happened? I don't know, I shouted, my voice higher and unfamiliar. I put on the dress and now I look like this. Fix it. Lily's hands flew to her mouth. I don't understand. It's just fabric, it shouldn't do that, she said in confusion, her eyes scanning me from head to toe. Okay, she said, her voice steadying as she took a deep breath. Don't panic. We'll figure this out. Let's start by... She hesitated, glancing back at the dress and then at me. I guess let's try taking it off first? Yeah, great idea, I said sarcastically, though I immediately started fumbling with the zipper at the back. My hands trembled as I tugged it down, the cool fabric slipping away from my skin. I hurriedly stepped out of the dress, hoping the changes would reverse as quickly as they'd come. But when I looked back at Lily, her face told me everything I needed to know. Nothing had changed. Still the same, she said softly. Okay, maybe it's some kind of reaction to the fabric? Or something else? Her voice was rising, her usual calm unraveling as the implications sank in. Lily, stop. Freaking out isn't going to help. Just think. What else can we try? She blinked rapidly, nodding. You're right. Okay, maybe if we rinse your hair, wash your face, it's worth a shot. The next hour was a whirlwind of failed attempts. I scrubbed my face until it was raw, stood under a cold shower, and even let Lily dump a bottle of makeup remover over my head in desperation. Nothing worked. Each time we checked the mirror, the same feminine, unfamiliar face stared back at me, mocking our efforts. Eventually, Lily flopped onto the couch, her head in her hands. I don't get it, she muttered. It's like the dress rewrote everything. But that's impossible, right? This is insane. Yeah, tell me about it, I muttered, pacing the room. My new frame felt awkward to maneuver in. It was like nothing I had ever experienced. What if this is permanent? The words felt like a punch to my gut, and I sank into the chair across from her, my head in my hands. Lily straightened, her expression firm. We're not giving up. Not yet. I'll research. I'll call someone if I have to. But we're going to figure this out, Evan. I promise. For hours, we tried everything we could think of. Nothing we tried seemed to work, though. As the night went on, we went through increasingly desperate measures. We tried things like holding the dress up to the light, to inspect it for anything unusual, searching online for stories about cursed clothing, and even yelling at the dress like it was some kind of entity. Still, nothing worked. By the time midnight rolled around, we were utterly exhausted. I sat slumped on the couch, my head in my hands, while Lily paced nervously across the room, her mind clearly still racing for a solution. Maybe it'll wear off? Lily offered weakly, though her tone made it clear she didn't believe her own words. I let out a long, defeated sigh and buried my face deeper into my hands. And if it doesn't? What then? Am I just stuck like this? I could feel the panic creeping back into my voice, a rising tide I couldn't suppress any longer. Lily stopped pacing and came to sit beside me, placing a comforting hand on my shoulder. Her expression was earnest, almost pleading. Then we'll deal with it. Together. I promise you're not alone in this. The sincerity in her voice softened the edge of my panic, though it didn't erase it completely. Together or not, the thought of living in this unfamiliar body filled me with a mix of dread and uncertainty I wasn't sure how to feel about. The next morning, the mirror confirmed my worst fears. The transformation hadn't changed. I stared at my reflection, the face of a stranger looking back at me. Lily knocked softly on the door. Evan? Are you okay? I let out a bitter laugh. Do I look okay? She winced but didn't back down. I know this is a lot, but maybe we can make the best of it? I shot her a glare. Make the best of it? Lily, I don't even recognize myself. How am I supposed to just adapt? The next few days were both tense and surreal. I mostly avoided looking in mirrors, hoping and praying that I'd wake up one morning and find everything had gone back to normal. Lily gave me space at first, sensing that I needed time to process what had happened. She didn't push or pry, but it was obvious she was worried. Every so often, I'd catch her glancing at me with a concerned expression. I spent those days holed up in my room trying to ignore the unfamiliarity of my own body. Eating felt strange, my smaller hands fumbling with utensils. Even walking felt off, my balance adjusting to the new proportions of my frame. Everything was a constant reminder of how alien this new reality was. Lily tried to coax me out of my isolation. She'd knock on my door, offering tea or snacks, sometimes just sitting outside and talking through the closed door. Evan, she said softly one evening, you can't hide forever. I know this is hard, but I'm here to help you. I didn't respond, my gaze fixed on the floor. Her footsteps retreated after a moment, leaving me alone with my thoughts. On the fourth day, Lily finally decided that enough was enough. She burst into my room with her arms full of clothes and a determined look on her face. All right, she said, dropping the pile onto my bed. We're doing this. No more moping. Doing what? I asked, narrowing my eyes. Helping you adjust, she said firmly. You can't avoid this forever. The sooner we figure this out, the sooner you can start feeling like yourself again. Lily, I don't even know who I am anymore, I admitted, my voice cracking. How am I supposed to adjust to something that doesn't feel real? She sat beside me, her expression softening. One step at a time, she said gently. Let me help you. Reluctantly, I let her take the lead, though every part of me wanted to resist. Lily started with the basics, easing me into the process like a patient teacher. She began with my hair, now long and cascading past my shoulders in soft waves. Your hair is stunning, she said, holding a brush in one hand and running her fingers through the strands with the other. But it's going to need some upkeep. Let's start with brushing it properly. I sat stiffly in front of the mirror as she demonstrated, her hands deftly untangling knots and smoothing the waves. She explained the importance of starting from the ends to avoid breakage, a concept I'd never thought about before. When she handed me the brush, I hesitated but mimicked her motions, my hands awkward at first but growing steadier as I worked. By the time we finished, my hair felt smoother and looked shinier than ever. Despite my reluctance, I felt an unexpected sense of accomplishment. Next came makeup, an entirely foreign world for me. Lily spread an array of products across the vanity, the sheer number overwhelming. Do I really need all of this? I asked skeptically, eyeing the bottles, compacts, and brushes like they were alien artifacts. You don't have to use everything, she assured me. We'll start with the basics. She guided me through applying foundation, blending it carefully to create an even tone. The sensation of the cool cream on my skin was strange, but not unpleasant. Next came mascara, which required a steady hand I didn't think I had. Lily studied me, patiently showing me how to coat my lashes without smudging. By the time we added a touch of blush and lip gloss, the face staring back at me was transformed. It was polished, confident, and I hated to admit it, beautiful. For the first time, I saw a version of myself that didn't feel entirely alien. Clothes were another hurdle, one I stumbled over repeatedly. Lily raided her closet, pulling out dresses, skirts, and blouses she thought would suit me. "We'll figure out your style together," she said cheerfully, holding up a flowy blouse and a pair of fitted jeans. I balked at first, the thought of trying on outfit after outfit exhausting. But Lily's persistence won out. She taught me how to mix and match pieces, how to accessorize, and even how to walk in heels. A skill that took several attempts and more than a few stumbles to master. The first time I saw my reflection in a complete outfit, hair and makeup done, I didn't know what to think. The person in the mirror was poised and confident, a far cry from the panicked mess I'd been just days before. It still felt surreal. But Lily's encouragement made it easier to take small steps forward. There were moments, however, when the weight of it all felt unbearable. One afternoon, I stood in front of the mirror, staring at my reflection with a mix of frustration and disbelief. "This doesn't feel like me," I muttered, tugging at the hem of the blouse I was wearing. Lily stepped beside me, her expression soft but determined. "It's a process," she said gently. "You're figuring out who you are now, and that takes time. Just be patient with yourself, okay?" Her words stayed with me. Over the next few weeks, I began to notice subtle changes, not just in how I looked, but in how I carried myself. Strangers treated me differently, with more kindness and attention. At first, it was disorienting, but as I adjusted, I found myself standing taller and speaking more confidently. Little by little, I started to feel like this new version of myself wasn't just something thrust upon me, but something I could embrace. Lily encouraged me to embrace these changes, pushing me to explore new hobbies and interests. She took me shopping for clothes that fit my personality, not just my new body. She even convinced me to try out yoga, which turned out to be surprisingly relaxing. Little by little, I began to find joy in this new version of myself. Returning to college was the ultimate test. I dreaded the stares, the questions, the inevitable awkwardness. But to my surprise, my professors and classmates took it in stride. The new me fit into this new world seamlessly, and before long, I found myself making friends and building a routine. Life as a woman wasn't without its challenges, but it offered opportunities I'd never considered before. One evening, as Lily and I sat on the couch flipping through her sketches, I found myself smiling. "You know," I said, "this whole thing started because of you. I guess I should thank you." She laughed, nudging me playfully. "Told you the dress was transformative." We both laughed, the sound filling the room with warmth. For the first time in weeks, I felt a sense of peace. This transformation, as unexpected and overwhelming as it had been, wasn't just an ending. It was a new beginning. Thanks for watching this video. More videos will be coming very soon. If you enjoyed this story, you'll love the story shown on screen or another one from our playlist. Before you go, remember to check out our new Patreon page for more stories, polls, and community chats with me. There is more info in the pinned comment and description. Thanks for watching.